was thinking a lot about what is going on. And of course, we are living in extraordinarily challenging times at so many levels. But it is precisely in chaos that there is opportunity, says Sun Tzu in his famous book, The Art of War. It's in chaos that there is opportunity, because in difficult times, we have the opportunity to sharpen our focus and our attention and help us in that way to broaden our perspective. We are living through an evolutionary process, and if we can open our eyes, we will be able to see our experience at a very, very deeper, a much deeper level. If we could see that everything that is happening in your life, in our lives now, is happening for you in order to help you evolve, grow in ways you never thought possible, in order to move you into new versions of yourself, new aspects of yourself, new experiences that could open your eyes really for more abundance, for more joy, for more expansion. And then you would stop using the lens of, oh, poor me, this sucks, I want out, why is this happening to me again? You would stop using that lens, and you would start using the lens of, wow, this is me shifting myself. This is me growing and evolving. This is me moving into new aspects of myself, into new versions of myself. And then you start thinking, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see what's coming. Because really, if you think of yourself in the past and you compare your old self to the new spiritual self, I'm sure that you can already see incredible shifts of consciousness. And so knowing that we're always changing, we can become very excited and say, well, I can't wait to see what I am moving into next. I can't wait to see the new opportunities coming my way. So it's not necessarily about changing the situation we are in, because like we always say on these gatherings, we don't have the power to change what is outside of ourselves, but it's about changing within, and it's about changing also the lens through, or the lens that we are using to see the situation that we are in. And if we can make space within ourselves to think that we don't know the whole picture, and I'm talking about maybe personal problems that you have, maybe national challenges and global difficulties, right? We don't know it all. So we can give it a space for things unfolding at its own rate that will give us the possibility of being hopeful too. Problems in many ways take us away from the comfort zone, right? And of course, we like to be in the comfort zone, but nobody grows when they are in the comfort zone for too long. We evolve during challenging times, because challenges encourage us to sharpen our focus. And so they lead us to inquiry, to questioning, so we can find solutions. And the moment you are posing the question, you are giving birth to solutions already, right? Without the desire to get the answer and the curiosity that encourage you to question, there would be no solution, right? So the important thing is that when we face challenges and problems, we have the potential to, or the opportunity to compare one thing with another. We have the potential to experience the contrast of, well, I like this and I don't like this. And in that contrast, we direct our attention to what we want instead of what we don't want in our lives. And so in that way, we start finding solutions. Most of us are after one thing and one thing only. And I'm sure you agree with me on this, a very joyful life. That's what we are after. Everything we do, from the relationships we want, from the health problems we want to resolve, to the financial wishes that we have, the activities we engage in, everything we want is to achieve a certain degree of satisfaction, because it's when we achieve satisfaction that we experience joy. And that's what we are all after. And life is supposed to feel good and enjoyable and easy. And when we are not experiencing that, we know that we are off the right track, and so we kind of strive to get what we want, right? But the problem is that striving, in striving, we are offering resistance, because struggling and trying very hard is not the way to go about it. Because when we are struggling, we are in tension. We are not in a relaxed, accepting mood. We are resisting and against what we do not want to have. And our focus goes to those things we don't want instead of the things that we do want, right? In neuroscience, there is a very old quote that you've heard me many times say. It's by Donald Hebb, and it is neurons that fire together, wire together. And it describes how pathways in the brain are formed, are shaped, and are reinforced by repetition. And therefore, the more we resist what we do not want, the more we oppose or worry about it, the more we think about those disempowering thoughts, the more we are telling our brain to focus on what we complain about. Remember that we talked about the reticular activating system, which is a filter that we have in our brain that sort of tracks what we are focusing on. And it will help you focus more and more on those things. It's kind of like our phones, that if you look something up in Google and you look up, like my husband loves fly fishing, right? So he is looking for fly fishing spots, say in New York, and then he gets an incredible amount of fly fishing spots, not only in that moment, but later, the next day or the day after that. And I even get them because they know that we are related. So it's amazing how that works. And our brain does exactly the same. The more we focus on something, the more our filters in the brain, the reticular activating system, thinks that for you that is important, and so it will send you there. So the more we complain, the more we will see what we are complaining about, because we create our own experience by focusing our attention. And learning how and what to focus our attention on is really, it really means a difference between a life of suffering and a life of joy. So how do we know where to direct our focus? Well, emotions are our compass. They are like a personal guidance system that we all have. And this personal guidance system indicates how close or far we are to falling into a deep hole of darkness or rising into the highest potential of bliss. You know, Einstein talked a lot about energy, right? And he said, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. So listen to that. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. So isn't that wonderful that we are learning more and more about the importance of energy in our lives? So we are all after joy, but are we willing to do what it takes to get there? What is the secret to matching the energy that will bring joy and satisfaction? Well, first, we need to notice. We need to be aware of where we are in the emotional scale to understand what emotions do not just, to understand that emotions do not just happen, that we are not really the poor victims of these emotions or these feelings that we are having. No, we do have tremendous power on how to shift our emotions. But if we just follow any emotion we experience without really noticing what has produced that emotion, then we just become totally controlled by our brains. So we need to notice, to care about our emotions. And when we have one emotion that is bringing us down, to notice that. And then another thing is to cultivate a wider perspective so we can understand the bigger picture of how it all fits together, right? We all have experienced moments of deep, deep love, of exhilaration. We have experienced pure joy. And that is the energy of the universe, the energy from source, the energy that we experience in our body. And we can tap into that energy all the time by focusing by directing our focus, because we create our experience depending on where we put our attention. And we need to understand that we are energy. We are energy moving beings. And our energy never, ever stays the same. It's always changing. And we have a great influence on what determines where our energy is. we are more energy, that we are flesh and bone and blood. We are, when our energy leaves from our bodies, our body dies. So we are sustained by that energy. You are vibration and resonance at your basis, and your emotions are your best way to identify where in that spectrum of vibrational energy you are. So you can feel the different variants of vibration energy in your body. And it's really great to distinguish between the different vibrational frequencies of the different thoughts I'm leaning towards. When you start noticing the different energies and you realize that that energy is the product, is a result of some thoughts that you have been dwelling on, it's so empowering, because then you can choose, you have a tool to work with that. You can choose on what thoughts you can linger and what thoughts to let go of. So it is the emotions we are feeling really that are telling us whether what we are manifesting is what we want or we don't want in our lives. And when we can tell the difference between those energies, it will be much easier to keep ourselves in track and to actually contribute to our emotional well-being. So we have this guidance system within ourselves that lets us know the direction of our expansion, feeling clear, expansive, happy, or our contraction, tension, stressed, right? And when you feel the expansion of that vibrational energy, you will feel good, you will feel inspired, motivated, you want to create, you feel hopeful, and you feel joy. Why? Well, because your energy is rising. The higher the energy you experience, the happier you are. So you can tell very fast where you are on your vibrational frequency, whether you are expanding in vibrational alignment with that universal source or energy, or you are contracting in fear, in anxiety, in worry, and you notice it in your body. So it's absolutely beautiful, and it's also exhilarating, and it's even fun to be able to tell that this distinction. And you can feel it in your body, and it's you can notice through the day the different vibrational frequencies of the different thoughts you are leaning towards. So it is the emotions that we are feeling that are telling us whether we are where we want to be or we are not on the right track. And this cycle, this is a cycle of never-ending life experiences that can move you forward if you pay attention and you do what you need to do to not get stuck in a never-ending cycle of negative emotions. So we have to be careful, because it is easy, very easy, to become tuned to other people's minds. And what happens is, as you stay there for a little while, say in a conversation with a person who is whose energy is very low, your mind becomes one with the other person's mind, and it starts thinking in the same frequency. That's why I don't watch the news, because journalism is a constant stream of fear. And of course, because fear sells, right? So you turn on the TV and that's all you hear. So they want to control you for their own benefit. So I don't want my mind to be influenced and programmed by their energy. So notice your energy. If you are watching a movie, say, or being in front of somebody whose energy is very low, watch it, observe it in your body, you know. And it's beautiful if the other person you are talking with and thinking, and you're talking with mostly in generalities, has a broad perspective, because they can accept different views and not oppose you, you know, and not be stuck in one narrow view, accusing the other by even name calling. So when both people have a wider perspective, by understanding that they do not know the whole picture, both your energies go high and become tuned to one another's mind, because like Thich Nhat Hanh says, we are interbeings, right? We are constantly influencing each other. We are never complete individuals, and we can be greatly influenced by other trends of thoughts that can have a great impact on the way we think and on the way we live and on the decisions we make, and consequently on our energy and our emotions. So many of us may have encountered so many people that wanted to control us, and they needed our compliance with what they thought was for you a good way to live, so they could feel good or benefit in some way from what you did. And they set all kinds of rules, and in the process of you trying to please them, rather than tune up to your own energy in high frequency, you may have lost your connection to your higher self in many cases, right? So many people are disconnected from themselves and their own energy, and they become really shadows of the consciousness that they really are. So when you begin tuning to the consciousness that you really are, you begin to discover that you've never been alone or lonely, or you don't really need to be lost or confused. It was only because you temporarily separated from the frequency of your inner self, and you tuned to a mind that very masterfully tried to control you. And so then you feel disoriented. But when you focus on this consciousness that is your inner self, that knows all things, you experience a wave of inspiration. You know what road to take, you know where to put your focus, and when to put your foot down. You know how to uplift others when you open your mouth. You know what route to take in a place that you don't even really understand. And you find impulses coming from within you that just feel right, and they feel pleasurable. And when you learn to listen to those impulses, you know you have tuned into your inner wisdom, and your vibrational energy will be soaring. And then you will be able to trust yourself, because you have that interior guidance system. This is your journey. You can never have, if you want to get to a happy destination, you cannot have an unhappy journey to get you to a happy destination, right? So if you're having a miserable time every day, how on earth can you expect to get to your goal and be a happy person? But of course, it requires discipline to focus, discipline and practice, to focus on the possibility, on the opportunities, on trusting the unfolding of things. I'm going to drink some water. You know, I remember a few years ago going whitewater rafting in beautiful New York. And we were in a group. And when we got there, of course, nobody ever thought of going against the current, right? Of going upstream. We just got on our rafts and we got downstream. So we just went with the current, with the flow of God, of the river. We just went with the flow and let ourselves be carried by the water. So why do we try to go upstream in the river of life? How do we even think it's going to work if we are always in opposition, always struggling, always trying to oppose what is happening? We can facilitate our well-being by leaning towards feeling better thoughts, because it's our thoughts that create our energy. You can look at the beauty and the blessings in your life, at the opportunities that may open up for you. You can trust yourself and be hopeful. So it's not to deny problems or to run away or to suppress. No, it's just to notice. And if you need to deal with a situation, and it's a difficult situation, a real problem, okay, so you are present with that problem, looking for solutions and not catastrophizing and not speculating about the terrible things that might happen. No, you are in the present moment, and you plan. You make a plan, but you are in the present, noticing what you're thinking, noticing the next steps to follow. And then you just let go. Let go of that and wait for the whole thing to unfold. So, and notice that when you are feeling good, you know, your mind becomes so clear and you feel excited, even frisky. And when you know that you have managed to find the frequency that you want, and that wider perspective is helping you out, you feel you are on the top of the game, and you will find the path of least resistance to where you want to get. Because the path of least resistance is a joyful path, is not a horrible path. And what happens with thoughts is that one thought creates another thought, and they create momentum. But you can create your own momentum. And if you do it consistently, that is, if you create the momentum of leaning towards better feeling thoughts all the time, and you make it a practice and you do it consistently, these two things, momentum and consistency, are two key words to raise your energy. And to get there, what you need is focus, and it's attention. You get momentum by noticing and focusing on how you feel and the thoughts that you are thinking. And if you can hold on to a thought, to a good, inspiring thought for 17 seconds, those who took the latest course with me remember this rule. You know, you hold on to a good and inspiring thought for 17 seconds, and then you can create momentum towards increasing your energy, because a new better feeling thought will follow, and then that one will be followed by another one, and you just stay with it for 17 seconds, creating more of it. And if you do it consistently, your state of being will be great. You need to care about the way you feel, because the way you feel is indicating to you whether you are putting your focus on the right thoughts. And meditation is one way to tune yourself, to make yourself aware of your vibrational energy. Because when you quiet your mind, you can watch your thoughts without engaging in a conversation with them. And when you do not linger on detrimental thoughts, you stop resistance. And when you stop resistance, your vibration just naturally rises. And your vibration starts rising and rising, and you start feeling good. And you see the benefit of not dwelling on disempowering thoughts. You become aware of the fact that allowing those disempowering thoughts will affect you negatively, will affect your state of mind and your emotions. So you care enormously and mostly about how you feel. And remember, nobody's going to come to you with a solution. The solution comes within you. And of course, you can take a pill, but the pill mostly will numb you. And of course, there are some people who have endocrine or hormonal situations, and they need to balance their emotions with some medication. But if you can do it by yourself, and once you figure out how to tune yourself to that frequency that feels good, and you allow yourself to resonate with that good energy, the rest will come and things will start happening in your life. All the things that you want will come, because your energy will be like a magnet for all those things. The idea is to know what you want and to be okay with knowing it, even though you don't have it yet. Because once you reach that place of higher vibrational energy, you don't need the actualization of it to feel good, because the alignment with it feels so satisfying to you. So it's you have to feel good before getting what you want, for that you want to come to you. So when you reach that alignment, two things happen. First, you feel good almost all the time, and maybe you just, maybe you lose it, but then because you have been training your mind, you come back and you come back. So you feel good 90% of the time. And then the second thing that happens is that life begins to flow easily in your experience. It's like, you stop going upstream. And of course, we always want something or desire something, right? And when you say, I desire something, there is an implication that there is something unfinished that, that you want. There will always be that which is unfinished. And thank goodness, there will always be things that we want. But when you are in alignment with your inner self and with Source, with God, you will be satisfied with what is and inspired to experience more and more. So, you know, we are living in a vibrational universe. So it makes sense that you are a vibrational being in a vibrational universe. We need to accept that our emotions are an indicator of where we are in that vibrational universe. And they let us know that when we are in alignment with who we are, we feel great. And when we are not in alignment with our inner self, we feel lousy. So when you go to bed tonight, make sure your thoughts are aligned with that high vibrational energy. And when you get up in the morning, don't start worrying, you know, first thing in the morning about what is going to happen. Don't bring the problem you had yesterday and dwell on it. No, make sure your first thoughts are of gratitude. Like you are there in bed, you know, set an alarm that is not too loud and it's not too crazy. Set a very soft alarm. So you enjoy the alarm, right? For one thing, and bring a sense of gratitude for being in that warm bed with the softness of the bedclothes on your body. Perhaps you turn your head and you see your partner next to you, your spouse, and you know that you have a shelter to live under, that you are breathing, you are experiencing life. So every day when you get up, the moment you open your eyes, give thanks for being alive and push the reset button in the morning and let this new day be a fresh start. Do not do, you know, and if you do that for a few days, then you are showing to yourself that you can control your mood and that you care about your mood by directing your thoughts to good feeling thoughts. So your emotions are in alignment with that thought frequency. And then begin watching how your life starts unfolding in a very, very easy way. So where you are today is happening because of where you have been. What you are experiencing today is a result of many thoughts that you have had. There were so many obstacles that you have overcome, and you know, you're still strong and probably even stronger perhaps because of those challenges. You have come so far. So give yourself credit. Express gratitude and love for your past, because even those of us who have very traumatic experiences in our past, we have learned from that, and we don't need to carry them with us, you know, feeling the weight of all that suffering. We can recognize what those experiences have taught us and how they have helped shape who we are today, and bring gratitude to that. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening.